Waging a war against a powerful organization, questioning her faith at a wedding, and teaming back up with an old friend, Leah Remini has carved out a successful career in Hollywood, all while the shadow of Scientology has loomed large in her life. Leah Remini was born on June 15, 1970, in Brooklyn, New York, to Vicky Marshall and George Remini. Remini was baptized Catholic but did not attend church regularly. Her parents split when Remini was young, and her mother soon began dating someone new. Remini stayed in Brooklyn for about the first decade of her life, growing up in what she described as a middle-class home alongside multiple siblings, including a sister named Nicole. Even as a child, Remini was intrigued by acting, saying in an interview with CBS Mornings, "I grew up on television watching I Love Lucy. I remember hearing the laughs from the audience, and I was like, wow, to be able to do that." After her parents separated, Remini's mother started dating the man who would eventually become Remini's stepfather. He was a practicing Scientologist and introduced the religion to Remini's mother, who joined the church with her children. As Remini shared in an interview with People, Scientology was positive in her life when she first joined. "Almost immediately, my mother became a little more open and less the mother who was always yelling at you. She told my sister and me that we were spiritual beings, and we were going to start learning to communicate and not attack each other. As a kid, it's very empowering." Remini immersed herself in the world of Scientology, learning its teachings and the church's ultimate goals. Her mother then enrolled Remini and her sister at Sea Organization, a community of the church's most devout members. To be a part of Sea Organization, Remini's family had to move to Clearwater, Florida, and it was there that Remini worked and signed a billion-year contract committing herself to the Church of Scientology. Remini complained about the living and working conditions in Florida, and eventually, according to her family, they exited Sea Organization. The Church of Scientology, however, claims Remini was removed from Sea Organization due to behavior of which the church did not approve. When Remini was 13, her mother moved the family to Los Angeles, California, where her family continued practicing Scientology despite having left Sea Organization. Remini was not, however, in school. She explained on the Joe Rogan Experience, "Scientology does not value a traditional education. They value your education of Scientology." Remini dropped out of school in the 8th grade and took Scientology courses. When questioned about her education, Remini said that she and her mother lied that Remini was receiving a private education. She later went on to earn her GED, but being in Los Angeles positioned Remini to eventually realize her dream of breaking into the entertainment industry, and the teachings of Scientology helped her in that pursuit.
As an actor, I walked into a room where some people might feel, cower in front of a casting director. I wasn't.
While still a teenager, Remini set out to find an agent and start auditioning. She met with John Levy, a casting agent who would later be responsible for the start of her career. Of their initial meeting, Remini told BuzzFeed, "I was being a total smartass, and John's laughing, so I'm thinking, this guy loves me, and I'd be showing up on a set the next day." Levy later told Remini that he was anything but impressed with her audition, but he thought she had a special quality, so he continued to have her return for auditions. Remini's acting career began in earnest when she was on the brink of adulthood, and her first credited role was in the show Head of the Class, which was cast by Levy. Remini found a home in sitcoms. After Head of the Class, she was cast in Who's the Boss, and then she got a starring role on the sitcom Living Dolls, which was canceled after 12 episodes. Speaking about that show, Remini told BuzzFeed, "I really thought that was it. I thought I was done. I thought I'd made it. You don't realize there's going to be trials and tribulations in the ebb and flow of this business." The actor would go on to find guest appearances and recurring roles in shows like Cheers, Friends, and Fired Up before hitting it big. In the late 90s, Remini was cast in the show that made her famous, The King of Queens. As she shared in an interview with Today, some initial good-natured ribbing from her eventual co-star Kevin James is what made her want to be a part of the show.
Immediately, I was like, I don't even care what the script is. I just love this guy so much. And that I was like, yes.
The King of Queens ran for 9 seasons, earned 1 Primetime Emmy nomination, and started long-standing careers for Remini, James, and Patton Oswalt. Amid Remini's success in The King of Queens, the comedic actor found herself in some of the most elite circles in Scientology, and she was introduced to Tom Cruise, a notable member of the church. As she spent more time with Cruise, Remini began questioning some of the church's policies and teachings. She claimed that her questioning, particularly about Cruise, was met with resistance from church officials, which led her to question more. As she said in an interview with ABC News, "Being critical of Tom Cruise is being critical of Scientology itself. You are a person who is anti the aims and goals of Scientology. You are evil." Before being cast in The King of Queens, Leah Remini met Angelo Pagan, an actor and musician, at a nightclub. Remini said it was love at first sight, and the two began dating. In July 2003, Remini and Pagan got married in Las Vegas, and just a year later, they welcomed their first child together, a daughter named Sophia. Pagan and Remini both practiced Scientology at the beginning of their marriage, and for Remini, the year she got married was also a year of great flourishing within Scientology. She achieved operating Thetan 3, a high level in Scientology that shares esoteric knowledge about the church with appropriate inappropriate members. Just a few years later, Remini attended Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes' wedding in Italy. The festivities were eye-opening to Remini, and when she returned to the United States, she filed formal reports to the church claiming Cruise and Scientology leader David Miscavige, quote, "We're bringing Scientology down."
I now see where the cracks are in our church, and it's David Miscavige, it's Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise's 2006 wedding set in motion Remini's decision to leave the Church of Scientology. While Remini filed reports against Cruise and Miscavige, many other Scientology members who were at Cruise's wedding, including Katie Holmes, filed complaints about Remini. Following the reports, Remini claims she was sent to Clearwater, Florida, the spiritual headquarters of the Church of Scientology, and spent 3 months with church officials who were aiming to get her to say she made up her reports. But Remini still wasn't ready to leave after that, and she spent several more years as a member of the church. In 2012, however, after years of questioning her church's practices and beliefs, Remini was inspired by Holmes' decision to divorce Cruise and took steps toward leaving Scientology. She began researching outsiders' opinions of the church, and she discovered that other former members shared many of her misgivings about Scientology's practices and procedures. Finally, in 2013, Remini and her family left the church. She said in a statement, "I wish to share my sincere and heartfelt appreciation for the overwhelming positive response I have received from the media, my colleagues, and from fans around the world. I am truly grateful and thankful for all your support." After leaving the Church of Scientology, Remini continued with her career, and she took her work even more seriously than before. She was a contestant on the 17th season of Dancing with the Stars, during which she shared with her partner some of the struggles that came with leaving the church.
The church is looking for me to fail so that they can say to their parishioners, "You see what happens when you leave the church? Like they're waiting for me to fail."
Remini was eliminated just before the 4 finalists, but the former Scientologist found more work co-hosting and guest hosting TV shows. She and her family also starred in their own reality show for 2 years, Leah Remini, It's All Relative. On the show, Remini opened up further about her decision to leave Scientology, specifically for the sake of her daughter. "I just didn't want her to be raised that way, because let's say in 10 years, if I don't want to be connected to the church anymore, my own daughter would be taught to disconnect from me." While Remini kept herself busy hosting shows and competing on reality TV, she continued her true passion, acting. Remini was cast in single-episode appearances and multiple episode arcs on various TV shows throughout the 2010s, like Phineas and Ferb, The X's, and The Clapper. Fans of Remini and The King of Queens were especially excited in 2017 when Remini reunited with Kevin James on his new show, Kevin Can Wait. Remini started by appearing in the Season 1 finale of the show, and she joined the cast full-time for Season 2. Some fans of the show were disappointed in the casting change, however, as the addition of Remini meant the end of Aaron Hayes' run on the show. But James was very happy to act again with his former co-star, telling CBS News, "To have Leah Remini back on is fantastic. It's amazing because we worked together for 9 years and then were offered 10. And to be able to have that opportunity to work together again is a blessing." After her public departure from Scientology, Remini wanted to expose the organization and its officials for what she saw as misbehavior and abuse. To do so, she spoke about her experience on her reality show, Leah Remini, It's All Relative, completed interviews about her time as a Scientologist, and created the documentary series Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath.
I'm going to tell these stories in hopes that people wake up and go, okay, somebody needs to do something about this.
Scientology and the Aftermath was a huge hit. The show ran for 3 seasons, and it won Remini 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, one for Outstanding Informational Series or Special, and one for Outstanding Hosted Nonfiction Series or Special. After the docuseries ended, Remini continued her quest by hosting a podcast called Scientology Fair Game, which ran from 2020 to 2022. Leah Remini has always maintained a strong work ethic, finding a way to make time for multiple projects. While hosting her podcast, Scientology Fair Game, she returned to hosting television. In 2021, the actor was hired to host a new game show, People Puzzler, in which contestants solve a variety of pop culture-themed crossword puzzles. Speaking to People magazine about her decision to host the Game Show Network series, Remini said, "I was dealing with the aftermath of producing and hosting my A&E documentary series on Scientology, on top of it being a very dark time in our country. So when something like this comes along, I feel like it's a blessing. I just love connecting with people." Amid her continued success, Remini has not stopped her mission to take down the Church of Scientology. In 2023, she took legal action against the church. The former Scientologist filed a lawsuit claiming harassment, intimidation, and more by the church, seeking damages for what she says she has suffered. The church denied any wrongdoing and suggested Remini move to Russia, claiming she doesn't like free speech. In a press release, Remini stated, "With this lawsuit, I hope to protect the rights afforded to them and me by the Constitution of the United States to speak the truth and report the facts about Scientology without fear of vicious and vindictive retribution, of which most have no way to fight back."